First of all, it's a miracle we're here to start with, because I lost my power like 2 hours ago. And then I go outside. My neighbor is standing in her front. You know what's wrong with us? We all go in through our garage. And so when we lose power, it's impossible to get into our fucking houses. I swear to God, I had the same issue a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, I don't know. This is how we're going to introduce the show today, guys. Hey, welcome to Simply Amazing. It's the Nightcrawler podcast where we talk about whatever the hell we want to, because guess what, baby? You ain't paying for this. So, I mean, you get your money's worth. I'm being honest here. And we
have no ads, so your ears aren't even having to pay for listening. You're so welcome.
Exactly. Or if you'd like to advertise with us, we're happy to do it. We are currently courting some advertisers. We're looking at a tail wax advertiser. I think that might be really good.
Outstanding. And I didn't even know this.
I know. And like, two-toed shoes, which, you know, that could be something really good. I think that those are big somewhere. I don't know. But, you know, advertise with us later. We got more important things to talk about. Today, we are actually, well, first of all, I'm Lisa, a.k.a. the OG Nocturne, and I am joined by, oh my God, she's got Kurt in her background, so she is looking fabulous.
I have two Kurts. I have this Kurt, and it's kind of hard to see from the distance, but this is a sketch of Kurt.
Oh, I see it, girl. I see your Kurts. Lauren is here with me as well. But we are also joined all the way from, like, start digging, guys. Start digging and you might make it to him. He's all the way down in Australia. We got Jug joining us today. Hey, Jug.
G'day, Lisa. G'day, Lauren. It's been great to be here.
Oh, my God. You did the good day and everything.
I loved it. I loved it.
I was going to do the good day. I was obviously going to do the good day. There's no other way I can greet Americans. I'm going to do the good
day. I'll come back at you with a how you doing. There you go. So it's a pleasure to have you here. You have brought up an amazing conversation piece that we want to get into and talk about Kurt. But first, before we get into that, I would like to know, Jug, how did you find Nightcrawler? What made you become a Nightcrawler fan?
Well, my one was the movies, you know, probably like a lot of other people. And, you know, when I started reading the comics, he's obviously the one I gravitate to. I mean, he's the best one. That's just obvious. Well, except probably for Gabby Kinney. I love Gabby Kinney. They have the same kind of personality in a way. They're very outgoing. They're just very fun. And just, you know, they got the very positive energy part of their personality.
Yeah, totally we love Honey Badger.
Yeah. Oh, I love Honey Badger so much. Miss her so much. Why isn't she in any of the new books so far?
I wish she was still called Honey Badger. Why'd they give her a stupid name, Scout? I mean, that was bad.
Fucking dumb.
I know. Why do that? I mean, he's cute. Honey badgers are vicious little buggers.
They are. They'll mess you up. Like, they will not, like, I mean, granted, I've never met a honey badger. Where do honey badgers even live? Do they live in Australia or do they live in America? I have no idea.
I think they're in Africa thing, maybe.
Oh my God, we're all wrong.
Yeah, I think I remember, like, I think that was brought up in this Top Gear episode I was watching, and like there is the African special. So yeah, I think they're African.
Oh, yeah, okay. African and Asian. It looks like, according to Google, at least.
Yeah, one of the few vicious animals we don't have in Australia.
Yeah, you guys have.
You have my kangaroos. I want to meet a kangaroo so bad.
I ate kangaroo once.
What the fuck, Lisa? I have to leave immediately. I'm quitting the podcast.
It's very good meat. It tastes good, and it's actually very healthy for people.
What the hell? I can't do this. All right, well, guys, this is terrible.
And the thing, here's actually the thing, though. When it comes to kangaroo, it actually, like, not only is the meat good, but also hunting them is actually very good for the environment. It's actually it's like a real free range type of food, but sometimes they can overpopulate. So hunting them actually helps keep the population down. It helps, it actually just helps the actual ecosystem.
So do you hear that, everybody? Go out to your closest zoo and eat a kangaroo.
No. Do not listen to anything Jung and Lisa said. They're going to I don't edit this out.
It's not like we're saying eat a koala.
Well, I wouldn't eat a koala. They have chlamydia, so I would not eat them.
Oh, that's true. You'd get high anyway on the eucalyptus they eat.
Oh my God. There was like an anime show when I was a kid about koalas that lived outside a girl's window and ate eucalyptus, and that's all I can remember about it. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Kurt. So, Doug, tell us what you want to talk about today, because we're really excited about it.
Okay, so a little thing to know about me before we get into it. One of the things you'd know about me, a bit of a quirk I would actually have, you'd know I'll like a particular X-Men character if I say they should totally ditch the X-Men and go somewhere else for a bit. Like, it's a thing with me. I've said it about Honey Badger. I've said it about Storm, who I'm very excited to see in the Avengers coming up now. Who else have I said it about? I've sometimes jokingly said it about Cyclops, saying he should totally switch roles with Captain America. Like, Cyclops leads the Avengers while Captain America leads the X-Men, just for a bit of a fun idea.
I kind of love that.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of loving the idea of Kurt going out. He's gone, like, we have Kurt lead the X-Men, maybe join another team, have a new solo that's not connected to the X-Men and more connected to other superheroes. Let's see if we can get him more with the human heroes.
I love it personally. I think we saw a bit of that when they had Uncanny Spider-Man. And that was a great read. You know, it wasn't maybe it wasn't the perfect story, but I personally really enjoyed seeing Kurt interacting with Peter Parker and, you know, outside of the X-Men, because, you know, you're right. Like, it's at some point, I think being a part of that team can hold you back as a character. And his character has been around for so long, and he's such a unique character that it would be so interesting to see him kind of, you know, go in different directions and do different things in the Marvel universe. You know, maybe he'll join the Avengers and marry Wanda. I don't know. I'm just, you know, throwing some out there, Marvel. So
who knows?
You know,
actually, exactly. I do remember a couple of years back, you were talking about that on this podcast, and I was watching How I Met Your Mother at the time. I was at the season, I think it's the second last season, where you finally get introduced to the mother, and like you actually see her face for the first time. I remember I was even having this idea of doing that exact scene, and it's Kurt joining the Avengers. He's in the Avengers Mountain, and she's his neighbor, and like she's just kind of coming on, and she's doing the whole mother thing. You don't see her face, and she just knocks on his door, and you see that Kurt sees that he's going to be next door to Wanda.
I'm sold on that, honestly. That's the best pitch for current Wanda I've heard yet.
I'm speechless. Like, my mouth is hanging open this whole time. You guys can't see it because this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. I never even watched How I Met Your Mother, but I don't want to. I want to watch this. I want this.
Oh my God, but if you watch How I Met Your Mother, it'll mean even more than it already does, too. But yes, it's great. I love it, Jug. 10 out of 10.
I once met Ted from How I Met Your Mother, by the way. This is a totally random thing. I met him once. He was at a wedding I was at, but that's random.
Oh, that's cool. And that's also not going to be my only Nightcrawler Wonder idea of the podcast, the episodes.
Oh, no. Listen, if you don't have more ideas, we're just going to kick you off and fire you. You're fired. You're getting paid nothing. There's no benefits, but you're fired.
Okay, Tell us more. Fair.
Tell us more. Give us more. Where else do you want to see Kurt? What else? What other ideas do you think would work? Okay.
Yes. So this is my big idea. This is the thing I've established. Like, if I was writing Nightcrawler, I separate him from the X-Men, maybe because he just wants to get out of there. Maybe he's still a little traumatized over everything that happens in Krakoa. But that's not going to be it, because he's going to be in New Orleans having a beignet and enjoying some jazz music. But the big idea I had, go to New York and actually just open up his own like a German cafe, like a nice German cafe, proper German bakeries, proper coffee, just opens it, and he just starts becoming a part of the community. So that's my main idea. I think that would be a good idea. Mm-hmm. And this is my next Wanda and Nightcrawler pitch.
Oh my God.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, we're already to number 2. So, of course, he's probably going to be a bit of a problem. He's probably, for starters, the hospitality industry is a freaking nightmare. So if you open up your own cafe and restaurant, that's going to be a pain in the bum. So he's probably going to struggle for customers because of that. And also the fact being a mutant probably means that a lot of people might not actually be really interested in going to the cafe. But who should be the first person that comes in as his customer, who's living in, I think it's Lotskill, New Jersey these days, but Wanda.
I love it.
I mean, she's running her own shop as well these days. She's doing her own little occult shop. I'm not currently reading 100% of the current comics, but I know she's opened her own shop in New Jersey.
Yeah, she's got a shop or something, yeah.
Yeah, so she comes in, be's his first customer. And and of course, it's a cafe. They're both alone in a cafe. Of course there'd be flirting going on. There's no better place to flirt than a cafe.
That's true. I mean, there's in fan fiction, how many like coffee shop AUs exist where it's all about
many.
I'm writing one right now, actually.
Amazing.
See that? I knew it. I knew I liked you.
Yeah, this is actually funny because it's actually about Kitty Pryde meeting Felicia Hardy at a cat cafe.
Oh my God, I love it.
I love that. I want to read it, so I'm gonna need to know where I can read that when you're done.
Yeah, I'll get it done.
I also, I want to add to the Kurt Cafe thing. I feel like he would incorporate like an open mic night at his cafe, and he'd be the MC, and he'd like MC a little open mic night. You know,
that'd be so cute.
Wouldn't it be adorable?
Great. Like it's a thing I love so much. Like the idea of superheroes owning their own businesses because like they become part of the community. It makes it more human in a way. It's one of the reasons I'm liking the current Cat run when he just bought the building that he's living in and he's just doing it to keep the people from getting kicked out.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that a lot, and it especially works for mutants because for the most part. Oops, sorry, Daisy just made a noise. I hope you didn't hear it. For the most part, superheroes are thrust into their position based on circumstances, whereas the X-Men, I mean, they have no choice. They're born that way. So some of them might not want to become heroes. They might. That was when they came out with NYX years ago, that was the whole idea of that book, is like, what about the mutants who aren't heroes? What about the mutants who have to live every day as mutants? And what is their life like? And I think that would be phenomenal. I think that'd be so fascinating to see a little bit more of a look into that. And well, let's include Kyle because I think Kyle deserves to be in everything. Kyle runs front of house.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, another reason why I think it would be good is also if we go with the allegory of the minorities, it's literally a minority-owned business. So we can also bring in the ideas of things that they would have to struggle with. That's
true. That's very true.
Yeah,
I love that, and I like what you said earlier, Jug, with these heroes becoming a part of the communities, and I think that especially fits Kurt because he's not somebody that just likes to keep to himself naturally, and he's somebody that would want to build community, but not just for mutants. He would want a place where mutants and humans could be safe together as much as possible. I love that 1,000%, and he absolutely would MC open mic nights because he'd want to hear everyone's like sad and or uplifting like poetry and shit all the time, and he'd like give them all like prizes for something, like just for being up there. He'd be like, here you go, here's some candy. You did amazing.
Oh yeah, he would be so like supportive of everybody who went up there. He'd be like during karaoke screaming and cheering for everybody, even if they sound awful. Yeah, he would be totally supportive. And you get free drink vouchers if you do something at open mic night.
Yeah. And like anybody that was like nervous to go up and do open mic night, he would go up with them immediately. He'd be like, tell me what you need me to do. I'm right here.
Yeah, he'd just massively be a part of it. It would just be a whole new dynamic in the superhero comics and superhero world.
Oh yeah. And he'd hire Blob. Blob would work behind the bar.
Oh, Blob would work behind the bar. Well, it's a cafe, so I'm sure he can go. Like, if we're going bar, my idea for a superhero bar is Ben Grimm, and that would definitely be. Do you have any idea how much I want Glob to hang out with Ben Grimm? Glob, either one.
Glob, Blob, all the obs. All the obs belong together. There you go. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that Kurt, as a German, has no alcohol at all in his place.
I mean, that's just at nighttime. Like, like the regular cafe hours, they end at like 6 o'clock. And then 6 o'clock, it's like, all right, now we've got the bar and all this stuff.
Triple X night.
When he brings out the heavy pastries and all that, the stuff that you shouldn't eat, but you
can't. And he's got the back room, Lisa. Remember you talked about that, I think, on an episode?
Did I talk about the back room?
Yeah, the secret tucked in room. I can't remember what you called it, but it's tucked in the back. That doesn't open till like 10 o'clock though.
Oh, the champagne room. The champagne room.
Yeah, you gotta wait till 10 o'clock for that shit.
Yeah, that's where you get the lap dances. I think we're perverting this idea that Jug has a little bit.
Oh, please, don't worry about it. I've done my own perverted versions of it myself.
I don't think there's a way to be a Nightcrawler fan and not have perverted versions of everything because, I mean, he just lends it. We did a whole
Correct.
episode on his tail.
I mean,
you know?
you got the picture in Lauren's background right now. That thing's skin tight. You're seeing every single one of his muscles.
It's skin tight. It's skin tight, and he is spread eagle. I mean, he is just.
He's just welcoming you in.
He is.
I promise
He's
this
like,
is not a sexual image to everyone listening right now, but the way they're describing it makes it sound as such.
oh my God, no, he's hanging dong. You wouldn't believe this, guys. It's crazy. You
It
wouldn't
is
believe
just
it.
all out.
I do have a piece of art where you do see Kurt's dong, but I have it hidden away.
I tried to get
very, very far away.
I tried to get in touch with Dave Cockrum's son to ask him to buy the Kurt going down picture, but I never could. But probably out of my price range
What
anyway.
we gotta do to get him involved? What we gotta do?
I don't know.
We should get him on the pod too. Everybody help us out.
Well, Jug, we love it. Were there any other ideas you had you wanted to share?
Well, if we were going for other superhero teams as well, we should probably talk about him on other superhero teams, of course.
Let's do it.
Okay, so my big pick, honestly, is the West Coast Avengers. Like, because they're always like considered the silly team when it comes to the Avengers. Like, you got the main Avengers team, and then you got the West Coast. And the West Coast has always seemed like the more upbeat and fun one. And I especially like the idea of him with Tigra.
Ooh.
Yes. Tails. More tails.
Tails. Like,
yes.
it is a thing with me. I love tails on characters. I remember reading Moon Knight. Tigra had her tail wrapped around Mark, and I love it when they do that.
Yes.
So imagining Nightcrawler and Tigra having their tails wrapped with each other, it would send me. I would just be done.
Love it. I love it.
Yes. 10 out of 10. Jug, you're hired. You're staying.
Yeah.
You're staying on
Brilliant.
because
Finally.
I agree. Well, and also in the current Moon Knight run, Tigra, the artist, I think it's Alessandro Capuccio. His art in general is phenomenal, but the way he specifically draws Tigra, it does things. Like my brain goes feral, so I can't blame you at all. I can't.
It's just incredible. The artwork on that book is astounding, and Tigra herself is just. It's life-changing.
I need Capuccio to draw that book. I need him to draw Kurt and Tigra together. Do you know how good that would be?
That'd be fucking fantastic. Oh, you guys don't mind if I
Lisa,
swear, do you?
No, that's the way.
Oh, okay,
Terrible.
brilliant, because that's the second language to me. Like,
Yeah,
you-
yeah.
like.
I'm from
Love
New York,
swearing.
so that's exactly, yeah.
Oh, please, we're from Australia. I'm Australian. I'm a former tradie. Do you have any idea how much swearing is part of my vocabulary?
It's all good. You're in good company here, let me tell you. I don't have much to say about the Tigra and Kurt of it all, but Wanda was on West Coast Avengers, so I'm all about that. And I agree, like there is a fun element to West Coast Avengers, and I think it has to do a lot of it has to do with like the Hollywood element, because wasn't there like because Simon's involved in Hollywood, and it's more superficial, and I kind of like that idea for Kurt. Is a little bit, he's been so deep for so long. We've delved into all the depths, like we've dealt with the religion, and we've dealt with the parents, we've dealt with all of it. Let him be shallow for a bit. Let him just have fun.
Yeah, that's the thing I think should be a main focus of Kurt going forward, especially after what we just had with the whole Legion of X type of stuff. Like, he was getting very depressed. He was very, very religious. So I think we really need to steer away from that point. So, like, just, get him having fun. Maybe even get him an acting position while he's in West Coast Avengers. Or no, he's like an agent or something. You know, just being the real superficial kind. Also, a thing I would love to see in the West Coast Avengers is him teaming up with Hawkeye.
Oh,
And in this case, going on a circus adventure, because these two come from a circus background.
Oh.
They both grew up in circuses. And in fact, it was kind of the basis of a fan art piece I made when I was doing a Mortal Kombat Marvel thing. And I did it between Kurt and Nightcrawler, because and they were just talking about putting on a good show, because it would be so cool to have these two maybe taking on the circus of criminals, or I can't remember what they're called, the guys that raised Hawkeye. But having a circus background with these two would actually create probably a fascinating storyline of Kurt that we don't really see very often.
I think that's great too. I think that's very cool. I want to go back to what you were saying about New Orleans earlier, because the team that Gail Simone is going to be writing is going to be based out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And
I know that's why I said it.
Yeah, well, that's going to be super interesting to see, because Kurt has doesn't have a ton, New Orleans is all about mysticism and magic and, ghosts, and there's all of that stuff happening there. And I think that, it'll be interesting to see Kurt tap into the mystical side of him and all the magic and everything. And, let's not bring Amanda Sefton back into it necessarily, but, he's got a lot of magic around him. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that would be really cool, especially because the Strange Academy is based in New Orleans. So he can literally just go take a class.
There you go. See that? And he can be like, how do I take a class to get my sister to come visit me? And then Strange is like, no, not me. No, we're not doing that. Absolutely not. We're not going to party to your incest.
I remember during the Krakoan era, it was during Excalibur, I was just wishing that in Excalibur they had to go do a night class because Magic was getting annoyed at all the chaos they were doing with Magic. It's like, she just comes and goes, what the hell are you guys doing? That's it. You guys are taking a class. And I can imagine the cover. I could see Rogue at the very front with the apple on her desk trying to be the perfect student type of scenario. I just would have loved that. There's so much you could do with Strange Academy. It would be awesome to see Nightcrawler there, maybe just taking just his own little course. It'd be fun as fuck.
I love that idea. And I love the idea of them having to take a course like having to take like if you get a ticket, you have to take a defensive driving course. It's just like, okay, you guys have fucked with magic too much. You got to come and take this class. And they have to watch like stupid videos that are like, what happens if you come across a demon? And what if that demon says, I have, a candy for you? And it's just like these stupid, scenarios they have to go through.
Yeah, he has to put up, and he puts up his hand. Is like, oh, excuse me, teacher. What would have to happen if apparently my father, not father, that I just found out is actually a demon?
And the teacher's like, that's for next semester. Just this is too advanced for us. I'm sorry, no, we can't deal with it.
God, I really hope there is some magic in this book because he really needs some magic interaction. It would be so funny with this cast, especially with Rogue being on Excalibur, all the things that happened with Gambit. I don't think that Wolverine's a fan of magic, but he was recently in the Midnight Sun, so he should actually know about the Strange Academy. Mm-hmm. So who knows, that might come up.
It could.
I feel like it has to come up if it's in New Orleans. Like I don't see, you know what I mean? It has to, because in New Orleans is just, when it comes to like the city in the United States that's about magic and about all that, that's New Orleans, Let's
just also hope, and also with Gail being a bit of a fun writer, you think she's going to do an issue with Mardi Gras?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep, just everybody throwing beads at Kurt.
Ooh, what's he flashing?
What is he flashing is the real question.
Swinging that tail around. Wow.
Jug's hired for sound effects too.
I get that a lot, actually.
Oh my goodness. I'm loving this. I think there's so much to be done with Kurt and so many options that we can have. And yeah, I'm writing to Marvel tomorrow. I'm going to start a change.org position. Hire Jug.
Wait, Jug, I'm surprised you haven't said anything that involves the Fantastic Four yet. Do you not want Kurt to be involved with them at all?
Okay, that was the next on the list, actually.
I knew it!
Yeah, so of course I'm going to say the Fantastic Four. My only problem is, you guys probably can. I'm not sure about it. But does Kurt seem like a sci-fi character to you? Because I get he's on the mysticism side, but on all that. But when it comes to sci-fi of the Fantastic Four, that just seems a bit weird. I'm not saying
I would like to see. I don't know if he is one, but ideally, I actually see him more as a sci-fi character than the Mystic. I think it's interesting that he's become a character more associated with the Mystic side. But I mean, if you think about it, like, he teleports and he, is blue, has pointy ears, 2 toes, a tail. I mean, he fits the sci-fi genre very well just from that approach. But, his personality is different. But I can still see him doing some sci-fi shit. I mean, he's an X-Men. X-Men do every genre. So.
I would agree with that. I would say that I wouldn't put sci-fi as number 1 for him, but I think he definitely fits. And let's not forget, he did date an alien for a long time. So
okay, yeah, that's true. Actually, okay, 2 things I want to talk about with it that I think would actually be incredibly, incredibly funny. Well, for starters, let's go with this pirate idea. So, as we all know, Kurt likes being a pirate. So I think this would be a lot of fun if he teamed up with Ben Grimm, because did you know Ben Grimm is Blackbeard?
I did not know that because I don't know Fantastic Four. That's fucking awesome.
I didn't know that.
All the way back, I think it's literally like issue 5, like back in the Lee Kirby era. They're having a time travel idea, and Ben ends up as Blackbeard. Like he's got a Blackbeard on. He's having a nice time. He's actually like he's enjoying the company of his crew, and they have to convince him to come back because he's in history. So the idea of bringing that idea back all the way back, and the fact is, with the current writer Ryan North, he's bringing in all these obscure villains and all these old ideas. So I could see him doing that. So the idea of Ben going back to being Blackbeard and bringing Kurt like as his new first mate, that would be great. Like that would be so much fun. Like him being an actual historical pirate, and I just love the ideas of bringing back like really, really old ideas. Like it really brings like the history of these characters. It really brings it to the forefront, and it would just be so much fun. And or we could even do like the version of it where we had in Jonathan Hickman's. He did a Fantastic Four at the start of Dark Reign, right? Because Ben, Johnny, and Sue were doing all these universe jumping things while Reed was doing this vision thing. I really loved that book. And they did this pirate thing at one stage. I think they did a pirate part at one stage. And they did all these type of time jump type of scenarios, including my favorite when they went to the Old West and were introduced to Black Susan. Like, she was the sheriff of the town, and she was just a freaking badass there. I want more of Black Susan. She was so cool.
I love the idea of using history. I like when they use those things. Exiles was a great book for that, for kind of, jumping around and doing fun, silly things that, don't really matter, are not going to change the main timeline, but you could tell these stories that you wouldn't be able to tell anywhere else. So I'm in. I mean,
it's why everyone likes Doctor Who.
Well, I mean, yes. Don't get me started on Doctor Who. Actually, I haven't watched Doctor Who since Matt Smith, but I was a big fan.
I'm loving Ncuti Gatwa. He's great.
It's funny because like I've actually been seeing clips of him, and I might be coming back to watch him.
Nice.
I couldn't get into Peter Capaldi, and then I feel like Jodie Whittaker just kind of went past me, but like I've seen little clips of him, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm going to check this out again. Maybe I'm going to get back to Doctor Who. But
yeah, he's got the fun. He's got a little bit of Matt Smith's energy. Like it's very upbeat and fun. Anyway, second idea when it comes to Kurt and the Fantastic Four, we're still going with Ben Grimm here. I think I mentioned this a long time ago to Lauren a while ago, but the idea of a dark home Grimm family dinner, because they actually mirror each other a little. So if we go through them, we got Ben and Mystique, two characters, a bit more on the paternal side, and they would really stand out in the crowd. They got the whole they got the whole image thing. We got the blind artist wife. So we got the storyteller of Myth of Destiny, and we got the sculptress in Alicia Masters. So imagine them just trading tips on how they view their craft. That would be awesome. Poor choice of words because they're both blind and they can't view.
In their mind's eye.
Yeah. Let's see. We got the copycat structure of the adopted daughter, because Ben recently adopted a scroll daughter.
Oh,
and we got the copycat of Rogue. So we got the power copier and an actual shape-shifting copycat. And oh god, I just actually want Rogue to meet. I want everyone to meet Nikki, the scroll daughter, because she's just so much fun. She's so cute.
Aww.
And then we also got Kurt meeting the adoptive son of who's a Cree actually of Ben Grimm. We got Joe. So they even got the blue son, who actually who's also traumatized by the entertainment industry.
Oh my god, I love it.
So they kind of mirror each other. So the idea of these two families sitting down and just looking across the table, seeing their almost like a mirror image, would be hilarious.
You know what I get like an image of is, do you remember the episode of this? I don't know if this is going back. There was an episode of The Simpsons where Bart brings a homeless guy in, and the homeless guy and Grandpa get into a fight. I imagine
the guy that created Itchy and Scratchy.
Yes, the guy who created Itchy. Yes, the guy who created Itchy. Yes, I imagine that Ben and Mystique are like Chester Lampwick and Grandpa, and like it's just like, you know, like 25 years ago, you came to my house and like tried to kill my family, and she's like, "Well, what do you want to fucking do about it?" He's like, "Well, don't kill my family." She's like, "Make me," and they.
Yeah, and we probably just like they're probably just fighting or trading barbs, and you probably have Destiny and Alicia there actually really enjoying each other's company.
Yeah, they're over to the side talking about, you know, the latest episode of Real Housewives, while like, you know, all the kids are just like, what? How did we survive?
Another funny addition to that is if they bring like Ben brings Johnny and Rogue brings Gambit as the ones that are really off to the side watching the chaos because they're just hooked onto the family.
Yeah, I imagine when Gambit shows up, Destiny's like, "Oh, we didn't set enough places at the table. Oh, I've got a spot for you." And then she just points to the floor where there's like a doggy bowl, and she's like, "That's where you go. That's where you go."
Yeah, he has to sit next to Ben's new dog, Princess.
Exactly. Yeah, it's Gambit and Princess. That's where it is. Exactly.
Oh, that'd be fucking brilliant.
Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Marvel, are you listening? Because this is gold, and it's
this
free.
is where all the good ideas are coming from.
You know, I think it's in general. I love the idea of bringing the families together because I feel like that's something, an area that Marvel's weaker in. And I know I'm going to compare them, but again, it's not to say one's better than the other. But DC is very good about bringing families together on their books. You know, the Super Family, the Wonder Family, the Bat Family, all these and other families beyond that, the Arrow family, you know, the Shazam family. But Marvel's not great about doing that. I don't feel like they don't really bring families together, and the families, even if they bring them together, they don't always interact with others. So yeah, Marvel should take notes. More family shit. We wanna.
Yeah, in fact, there's a little bit of a problem right now with the Fantastic Four. Before Slott's era, they've always been the family. They're the Fantastic family. They've always had the proper dynamic. But when they introduced Ben getting married and adopting his kids, a little bit of a problem they're having. They've really separated Ben from the Richards side. Like it become two families, not a singular family unit. It'll probably happen. It is really going to happen. Ryan, I think, is actually, I wouldn't say he's trying to do that because he's doing something very different with the Fantastic Four. I'm loving what he's doing, but we really need to show the idea that this is a single family unit, not just two families hanging out. So that's a bit of someone that really needs to do that. So I've really been hoping for Joe, Venn, and Nikki to start hanging out with Reed and Sue as much as I like, because I remember like Ben pretty much raised Franklin and Valeria just as much as Reed and Sue did. So there needs to be like really uniting those two families a bit more. Like it's like they're living in the same house in Arizona right now. So there's a lot of opportunities to do it. And they're having the whole family dinners and all that together. But you just really don't feel that they're completely unified right now.
So can I speak to that for a second? Because I don't know much about Fantastic Four, but just from what I gleaned from the movies. So
oh no.
It always felt like Ben was like a fourth wheel in a way, you know, because he doesn't have the act like, yes, he is family, but you know, Johnny and Sue are siblings, and then Sue is married to Reed. So, and then there's Ben, and it's what makes him different is not just that he's not specifically in the family, but also he's like a big freaking rock monster. So, you know, I love the idea of him having his own family and all that kind of stuff, but I understand what you're saying about trying to meld it more and bring back that family angle to Fantastic Four, because really they are the first family of comics. Like they are the family.
Exactly. And yeah, I get what you're saying, which is also what's probably led to the fact he's gotten more solos. He's gone on. Like it's also would make sense because he's the one that usually feels like the outcast, which is why when they introduced Franklin, it was such a big thing for him because it made him the godfather of the children. In fact, one of the big things was like this is a thing I really wanted. I want to like if I was ever writing Franklin or anything, I want to stress about his character. When he was a baby, everyone's scared of Ben because he's the big scary rock monster. Ben, like Franklin, even as a baby, didn't bat an eye. He just loved Ben from the get-go. So that's what really united him as a family in my eyes, in a way.
I love that. I love that so much.
It's just really sweet. So yeah, I would actually like getting back to Kurt. I would actually like Kurt, especially if he's being written by the current writer Ryan North. Because Ryan is absolutely fantastic. Like something that's really cool that what he does, using the Fantastic Four, Ryan actually has backgrounds and credentials as a scientist. He actually studied computer science. So it's not sci-fi anymore. It's kind of sci-fi with a hint of facts. Like he's actually using scientific theories and it's giving him a much steadier ground to work on. So bringing Kurt into that, I feel like he could actually really solidify a lot of the things about his own powers, or maybe just the way he does things, or maybe even his actual body structure about somebody with a tail and someone with a, I think it's called a digitalis with his legs. So it would actually be very fascinating to have a writer like him come in. And,
I agree.
Yeah, and another thing that will work for Kurt, like he's a guy that's looking for a family, and so the Fantastic Four would definitely accept him in a heartbeat.
Oh, Uncle Kurt.
Exactly.
I love that.
I mean, they accepted Storm. God, I miss Storm being on the Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Storm's been everywhere. I mean, and it makes sense. I just had no idea she was a Fantastic Four too. Damn.
yeah, I didn't know either. I honestly love Storm as like with Thor. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, Storm was in a run by, what's his name? Shit, why am I blanking? I love this writer. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, God, I've been saying his name so many times. Why am I blanking on it now?
I'm trying to see.
Ah,
I'm Googling, but when I did Storm Fantastic Four, it just brought me Sue Storm. So
Yeah, it's
okay,
not helpful.
that's the Storm, Black Panther, Fantastic Four.
oh, it was with Black Panther.
Yeah, hang on a sec. F4. Oh, why am I blanking on the guy? No, not the one done by Jonathan Hickman. Oh, I've been saying his name so many times a lot lately.
I don't know.
Maybe
We'll get
maybe
to
it's
it.
like Beetlejuice, where you say his name too many times and something bad happens.
It's also because of the fact I was talking to somebody who wants to do like a Marvel biopic, and he had the name up, and I kept suggesting names for this particular writer. And so now, and I suggested Denzel Washington, and now I can't get Denzel Washington out of my head. Oh wait, I know where I can look.
I think.
No, not him. The guy that was written as well.
Oh, I did not know that Black Panther.
McDuffie? Is that who it is?
Sorry, what was that?
Dwayne McDuffie?
That's his name. Damn it.
Well, I just learned something today that Black Panther actually premiered in a Fantastic Four comic. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
is. That's how a lot of characters got introduced in the old days. They would usually ended up in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, nowadays it's X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Dwayne McDuffie, he actually did the. See, this was right after Civil War, and in the Civil War, things got very tense between Reed and Sue, so they took a break from the team and went on a bit of a second honeymoon. So they got T'Challa and Storm to replace him for a bit. So they just having fun antics with Johnny and Ben, and they even brought over T'Challa's personal guard where Johnny flirted with him, and that just didn't end well for him.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would. That is. Well, I'm loving this. This is fascinating. I'm learning so much about the Fantastic Four that I never knew before.
Right? Damn.
Yeah, I love the Fantastic Four. They're great. They're just so much fun. I definitely if you guys want to get into the Fantastic Four, I definitely recommend the current run. So much fun, very lighthearted. It's actually the type of stuff you'd want for Kurt because he's doing it very sci-fi TV series based. Like each single issue is like its own episode. So it's not 6 issues for one single arc. He's just doing a lot of silly things.
Episodic. I like that.
Yeah. And what's really great about it is doing it the way he's doing it. Because you know how when you're reading a character or a series and you're saying they should do this with this character, they need to establish this, like very small things that you really want established. Like, and then they could actually be very crucial to the character, even though it's just this small thing. That's the kind of thing he's doing because he's not going for the big universe-changing type of story, so he can actually focus on the real humanizing traits on it. Like Ben's relationship with Johnny, Sue's relationship with Reed. Like, what was really good, Reed has been autistically coded for years now, but they've never outright said he's autistic. Mm-hmm. Ryan has confirmed that he's writing him as autistic and actually described Sue's relationship, like how they function together, and how she knows how he functions and the types of way they structured their relationships, how she sees him, and the way they make their relationship work, about how she understands how Reed works. And it's really good, and it really describes the relationship with somebody that would be neurodivergent. And it was just a fantastic issue. And that was just number 2. And issue 1 actually hit me with my favorite character, using my favorite sci-fi trope. That one was going to win immediately. So the idea of using Ben Grimm, putting him in a time loop, then the time loop is used as a metaphor for emotion, for not being able to let go of your loved one. I was going to love that one immediately. So I knew I was going to love it. So I had said, I'm going to judge this by issue 2. And everyone's loving Ryan North because his run is fantastic. He's confirmed that Sue Storm is an archaeologist. Like, she studied archaeology.
Nice.
She's using that a little bit in the current run because we knew she had a PhD for years now, but we never knew what it was for.
They didn't let her use that thing for decades. I hate it here. Not surprised. I do hate it.
Same with Lorna. Lorna's a PhD in archaeology too.
They don't do anything with Lorna though.
Polaris. I think that was actually a PhD in geology.
Is it geology? It's one of them.
That would make more sense.
Rocks. I don't know.
Yeah, she studies rocks. Sue studies bones and rocks.
There you go. Fair.
In fact, they did a really cool thing about her using the archaeology skills to by digging up these bones and all that. That was a cool issue. So yeah, using if we had Ryan North and he did a very episodic thing with Kurt, that would actually be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I like that. I like her doing episodic things, even if it's a limited series or whatever, because that way you can tell multiple stories with him kind of at once, albeit they're shorter stories. But I like that a lot because I think that works really well for his character, especially the character that we all love so much, which is a character that has a lot of depth to him and is also very lighthearted and loving and fun. And I think we need to keep going in that direction because for quite a while now, we've been in the whole, everything is dark and moody and grim for Kurt, whether it's demons or his religion or he feels like an outcast. And, those are there, but we need the good stuff.
Yeah, and as well with an episodic structure, you can focus on all the different things for Kurt, and you have this one issue where you can have this thing where it's solidified. Like we can have one issue where he's hanging with Destiny and Mystique. So we're talking about his parental stuff. We have one where he's hanging out with Rogue, really sister relationship there. Maybe one where he's trying to get romantic with somebody. Then focus on the romance. Maybe one where he wants to put on a performance because he wants to might miss the circus a little bit. So that's what the best part is about having an episodic type of comic series. You get to focus on just about all these different kinds of things, and somehow it all just manages to fit, and you can really grow the character more than you can in a 6-issue arc that focuses more on the destination of the story rather than it does the character.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I feel like I've heard a lot from fans is that people are tired of the stakes being so freaking high, especially with X-Men. It just feels like, and with Krakoa ending and everything, and we're going back to that status quo, it just feels like the stakes are always so high, and it's like we need some fun back. And it would be nice, even if we don't have Krakoa anymore, it would be nice if we just had a little bit of time where there's nothing catastrophic going on. And it's just simple stories, but some real slice of life stories. Tell what do these characters do outside of being superheroes? What are their hobbies? Who are their friends? What other things happen? They can still be fighting bad guys, but it doesn't have to be, every single story doesn't have to be the end of the goddamn world. Sometimes it's just there's Rhino Rhino's robbing the bank. Okay, guys, that's a story. Let's do that. I mean, it doesn't always have to be just world ending. And it feels like the X-Men have been that way for a long time. It just feels like it's just one after the other. Just, I'm going to say since House of M, it just feels like every arc since House of M has just been another catastrophic thing the X-Men have to deal with. And it's I'd rather read about the X-Men having an argument about, Bobby puts the milk back empty. And it's just like, you son of a bitch. You know
I
what I mean?
already don't like Bobby, but if he did that, I'd probably.
He definitely would be the one to do that. You know, he would be the one to do that. And it's just like, all you have to do is throw it out and then write on the little note that says, buy more milk. But you can't even do that, Bobby. I poured my Cocoa Krispies. I poured them already. I can't put them back in the box. And now I got no milk. What do you want from me? I mean, I would read that.
Again, I want to bring back to Ryan North because he also did he made his debut at Marvel writing Squirrel Girl, right? I haven't read it, but I have listened to a podcast he wrote, which is like one of those, it's a story podcast. I love those things. And it's Squirrel Girl running her own radio show. And who should call in but Magneto? He calls in thinking he's calling the X-Mansion. And he writes Magneto in a way that I've always wanted to see done. He's an old man. He speaks like an old man. Like he's talking like he calls thinking he's the X-Mansion, and he wants Wolverine to come over to his place because he needed somebody to trim his hedges. And the reason why because he wanted metal shears, but the place only had plastic shears. And he threatened the clerk there, and he threatens that he'll never shop there again. And he goes, "I'm a man of my word, Charles. You know I can't allow that." It's just a fun treating Magneto like he would be an old guy type of story, and I don't know why people like when I'm reading the current run when I read not Trial of Magneto, the one that came after, the one with Storm, Resurrection of Magneto, and at the very end, when they not at the very end, but when they bring him back with the portal and he looks as young as Quicksilver, I'm just thinking, why? What is their interest in making Magneto young?
Well, I think to an extent, it's like, if we're going to keep going with the Holocaust story, which I think everybody agrees is imperative to his character, we got to find a way to make it make sense as, it becomes impossible that anybody who survived the Holocaust is still alive. So I think that's part of it. But I want to point out when you were talking about Pietro, because I'm 100% behind you. Like, Magneto is a force and he is a powerful mutant and he is not someone you want to go up against. But like, there is no doubt in my mind he does not know how to attach an image to an email. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, the only time he ever calls his son is like, I can't turn on Netflix. And Pietro's like, oh my fucking God, I've done this. There's literally a button on the remote that says Netflix. Like, there's a button on the remote.
That was another thing. That was actually another thing in the podcast. He called because he wanted Gene to bring over sugar so he can make brownies so he can watch the Dazzler biopic.
Love it. I love it. That's the equivalent of going to the Eras tour, and I could totally see it. I could totally 100% see it. I actually headcanon that like Magneto is the happiest grandfather for Nocturne. Like, he's just so thrilled that one of his kids married a nice mutant, and like he doesn't have to deal with robots or Inhumans anymore. And like Nocturne is just like, he's like the happiest grandfather to her.
This is the thing I want to see in comics more often. More grandparents.
More parents in general, like any of it.
More parents, more grandparents. I got this whole thing in Fantastic Four when Sue and Reese, their grandkids come from the future. Like, we've already done that, but he was a super villain. But I'm talking about like actual characters come in, they be characters, and we figure out their grandparents, that type of thing. Magneto probably being a grandparent. If we're going to do the whole thing with still metaphorically being the parents, even with the whole retcon, like, then can we bring in Luna back for a little bit? Let's see how Luna feels about it now, being a very young teenager. How does she feel about Magneto these days? Let's bring in Nocturne. Let's see Kurt as a parent. Let's see Mystique and Destiny as a grandparent. I got this whole idea. Do you guys know L'Oreal by any chance?
Mm-mm.
L'Oreal is Captain Marvel's sister.
Oh, no, her sister. No, I love her. She was in the Captain Marvel run, Kelly Thompson.
Yeah, just recently introduced. Really big gal. I got this whole idea of her and Kurt together because I like the idea of him with a really big woman. Really big
I love it.
woman, because it would just be funny. It'd be funny.
Well, we've definitely said on the podcast that Kurt likes a woman who can break him. So
exactly, and she
easily.
can really do it. And I'm just imagining as well, because she's blue, I can imagine him bringing her to Mystique and Destiny, and then just thinking, so you finally found yourself a nice blue woman. And Destiny just thought, yeah, I get you.
yeah, Destiny's like, I like him blue. I like him blue.
Yeah.
Well, Judge, thank you so much for joining us. This has been such a fun talk.
It's been great talk. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You're welcome back anytime.
Yes.
Right, Lauren?
Yes,
Absolutely.
anytime.
Yeah, well,
Anytime.
might come back. We'll discuss the whole actually Darkholme Grim dinner.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I love it.
We should let's all take characters and we'll sit and have a Darkholme dinner together.
We'll write
Pretend.
scripts and reach parts.
Exactly.
Episode
Well, everybody-
200.
Yes. That'd be brilliant.
That's it. Exactly. We'll get there eventually. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us again for a fabulous episode of Simply Amazing. Well, Jug, where can they find you? Tell them where to find you on the webs.
Well, you can find me on Twitter under Jug, that bloke who just won't shut up, or Jug. Hang on a sec. I need the.
You lived up to your name in this one, let me tell you.
Yeah. It's my moniker. I've earned it.
There you go. Exactly.
Just need to check something. Yeah, it's Jug TBWJWSU. I had to remember how to do that. Other place you can find me is on Instagram under that bloke Jug. And another one I'd like to advertise is my Redbubble, where you can find merchandise with my own personal artwork, again, under that bloke Jug. Can get shirts, you can get stickers of all different kinds of artwork I've done.
Awesome. I'm going to go check it out once we're done. You might get an order today. Let's take a look.
Merch.
Exactly. Jug's personal merch.
There it is.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Lauren, where can they find you, girl?
At friendly MBHDBI, Instagram, Twitter. You can find me in the Nightcrawler Discord. You can also find me in my YouTube channel Discord, the Neighborhood Comic Show. You can find me in lots of places. Just, if I don't respond the first time, just bother me more. It's totally okay.
Just send her money and she'll respond. Trust me.
That will 1,000% get you a response. You will get a thank you letter. I will handwrite it 1,000%.
That's it. Exactly. And you can find us guys on simplyamazingpod.com. We've got all our socials there: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're mostly on Twitter, which we will call Twitter until our dying breath. I will never call it X. And I've said that 1,000 times. I think I even used Simply Amazing Twitter to tell Elon Musk that we are never calling it X. So it's not going to happen.
I mean, we're on an X-Men podcast, so it'll just get confusing.
That's exactly it. You know what? Exactly. Stop taking X from us, Elon. All right. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to us. It belongs to the X.
Exactly. You're so right.
Yeah. So come find us. Let us know you love us. Let us know you hate us. As long as you're thinking about us, that's all that matters. And if you are out there and you're listening right now and you are about to come on a show with two silly Americans and they call you from New Zealand, but you're actually Australian, but don't worry about it because you're still simply amazing.